And the way that they're using black women right now to rally behind somebody who's not even a black woman is absolutely diabolical to me. Especially given the fact that Kamala said out of her own mouth that she will never do anything that's exclusively for black people.
The president of the United States has stepped out of the presidential race and has endorsed Kamala Harris as the new candidate that will be running for that seat. This has sparked a lot of conversation. This is the only conversation of my on my FYP, both on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Even before Joe Biden announced that he's stepping out of the presidential race, a lot of people are already talking about the fact and predicting that he's going to step out of the race. Some people have been saying his speech is just mediocre, is not there at all. And the news that kind of broke the camel back for a lot of people was the headline that said he tested positive for COVID-19. I saw a lot of stitches when that headline came out of people saying this man is going to step out, he's not going to run for the position of a president. Some are even saying it is already giving Trump the position to sit on that presidential seat. Joe Biden endorsing Kamala Harris has sparked a lot of conversation. First, she is a black woman, even though there's a conversation of a lot of people saying this woman is not a black woman. Her father is a Jamaican, her mother is Indian, and some are saying she's mixed. Some are saying she's not a black woman. Some are even saying she's married to a white man. All her kids are white. Some are saying these people support blue and white. If black women are coming together to support Kamala Harris now, that means they are very hypocritical. There's even an headline that states that Kamala Harris' campaign became the largest 24-hour race in presidential history with $81 million in donation. People are coming out to support. There are some as well calling the white people to come out and support this woman, especially white women. And there are some saying the problem they are going to have is not how to convince the white woman to vote for Kamala Harris, is how to convince black men to vote for Kamala Harris. You guys, this is a long conversation and it's going to be split into two because it's just a very long. I have put together and gathered so many takes of what people have to say, especially black people, concerning Kamala Harris running for the seat of a president in the United States. Do you think that is going to happen? Let's get right into the conversation.
Y'all just couldn't shut up. Y'all just couldn't do right. Y'all just couldn't make it to November. If playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes was a country, America, girl, you won, baby. Not only did Joe Biden step down, he endorsed Kamala Harris, my fave, who I hope wins. I have been hoping she would have won the presidency for 4 years. That's where I've been. But despite that, people who don't actually pay attention to politics decided to jump in with their stupidity and got emotional instead of playing the strategic game. So now we're in the fuck around and find out phase. So what does that look like? So you mean to tell me the GOP is ran by a buffoon who can't even stay awake during the RNC, who doesn't know what decade he's in? His constituents know this, but said, we're going to stick beside him. We couldn't stick beside ours, but they gonna stick beside theirs. But just follow me for a minute. The same GOP members that have been playing the long game for decades, knowing they have taken many L's, waited for this moment for decades. They waited for this moment in particular because the House Speaker is a GOP representative and a religious nut who is threatening to sue if Joe Biden isn't on the ballot, with the help of the Supreme Court, which is ran by majority GOP members that have overturned Roe v. Wade, affirmative action, and anything else that benefits marginalized communities. Oh, but it gets better. We live in a country that don't like black women. So the fact that we have a black woman presidential nominee going up against a white supremacist with a bad tan in a country that has historically hated black people, that responded to Barack Obama, the first black man president, with a white supremacist. Y'all thought calling for the old white man to go up against the old white man to step down was a genius idea. Bitch, blessed day under his eye. Because as much as I want Kamala Harris to win, and I am going to vote down the ballot because we have 435 seats in the House, and in the Senate we have 33 seats, I want to remind you they have the fucking courts to overturn all this shit. Congratulations.
part of the reason why I made the video earlier talking about how like much racism and sexism is going to play a role isn't just because, like, I don't think Finita was the right messenger for that, but I still think it's the truth. That being said, I still think that this election is going to be a lot closer than people actually realize. I think that a lot of people are in the initial phases of excitement and hope because Joe Biden dropped out of the election, and so they can kind of see a light at the end of the tunnel, but I think people really underestimate just how much race and gender plays a role in this election. And it's not inherently because Kamala Harris is a Black woman that she won't be successful. I think there are multiple things at play that I don't think people realize are at play. One is that for the last decade, Democrats have played towards the center right between themselves and Republicans in order to gain more voters. And not a lot of those people have really unpacked a whole ton of things. Like, I'm not talking about the people who have legitimate criticisms of Kamala Harris and her record, especially in California. I'm talking about the people who suddenly switched over to the Democratic Party because they were uncomfortable with the overt white supremacy of Donald Trump and the Republicans and what they had morphed into. I truthfully don't think that any of that really went away. Sorry. The next thing is that disabled people have been very disillusioned by Democratic politics for a while, and disabled people make up about 30% of the voting population. Not to mention that the people that are experiencing long COVID, dementia, cognitive decline, cancers, things like that, are disproportionately going to impact people of color. And then there's going to be her stance on Palestine. You know, she called for a ceasefire in March, but I think it's not going to be enough for people to actually get behind her, especially with Tlaib withholding her her endorsement of Kamala Harris right now. And as it pertains to hope itself, I think that too many people have been let down by Democratic politics in the past, particularly with the visibility of social media and things like that, to honestly expect anything to change simply because Kamala Harris is at the head of the ticket. I think hope for a lot of people is a bridge too far to invest in at this point. And I think, too, we see a lot of social regression while Democrats are in office because people become comfortable and they cease to realize that the campaign is every single day. I said this when Biden was running. The campaign is every single day. And she has to toe this line of being both an incumbent and somebody that's kind of the new face of the party at the same time. Like, she's the incumbent VP, but she's running for president for the first time, you know? So she does very much have a record that is tied to Joe Biden's, but at the same time, she's trying to differentiate herself during this era as well. And this is what I'm seeing going into this election now, communication-wise. These are just observations.
Kamala Harris is about to prosecute the case against Donald Trump. She's about to prosecute the case against Trump's anti-reproductive rights. The majority of Americans in this country, by the way, believe that abortion should be legal, that women should have the right to IVF treatment to start their families, that women should have access to contraceptive care, that children who have been raped and become pregnant should be allowed to get the care that they need, that women should not go into septic shock for a pregnancy that they can't bring to term because Republicans created laws that prohibit women from getting the care that they need. Trump believes women should be punished for having an abortion.
Should the woman be punished for having an abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
Trump in his Project 2025 believes that there should be a national abortion ban, that IVF treatment is ungodly, and that only families procreating the traditional way is good. She's prosecuting the case against Donald Trump's $1.7 trillion tax cut on the ultra-wealthy that did nothing for the poor and working class because trickle-down economics is a fucking myth. Kamala is running on the economic agenda to lower taxes for the middle and working class and finally make millionaires and billionaires pay their fair share. She's making the case that medical debt should be wiped from the credit reports so that if you have literal cancer, you shouldn't go bankrupt. She's running an economic opportunity tour to increase capital for small businesses, creating pathways for women-owned and minority-owned businesses to flourish, connecting them with government contracts, educating small businesses on applying for loans, and getting additional resources into community banks that allow inner-city communities to finally achieve economic parity. She's prosecuting the case against Trump's corruption and Trump's ass who doesn't give a fuck about climate change because he literally asked tycoons, oil tycoons, for $1 billion in exchange for him to stop companies from producing electric vehicles and green infrastructure if he becomes president again. Kamala Harris is prosecuting the case against Trump's Project 2025 that wants to dismantle the Department of Education because he what?
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Kamala Harris is prosecuting the case against Trump's healthcare fraud, who consistently said he was going to be creating healthcare like we've never seen, and then we never got shit. But Kamala and Democrats worked together to get an expansion of Medicare and Medicaid and capped insulin costs for seniors at $35. Kamala Harris is prosecuting the case against Trump's failure at making our country safe. Trump failed at the border and never got Mexico to pay for the wall he promised. But Kamala Harris and Democrats worked across the aisle with Republicans and created immigration reform that Donald Trump called Republicans and said to not vote for because it makes the Democrats look good. Kamala Harris is about to prosecute the case on Trump's failure to pass infrastructure legislation. He kept saying Infrastructure Week was coming and we never got shit because he's an incompetent bozo. Kamala and Democrats passed a bipartisan infrastructure bill that even Republicans who voted against it tried to take credit for. She's going to prosecute the case against a convicted felon who called for the death penalty of 5 black boys who were wrongfully convicted for rape and then exonerated. And she prosecuted sexual predators, and Trump is one.
The deep state knows that Kamala Harris can never defeat Donald Trump by democratic means, yet they cancel Biden in the middle of the race. Why? I think the deep state, or the cabal of wealthy families, feel confident enough in their ability to solve the Trump problem by non-democratic means, indictment or worse. Thus, they may have planned something that makes Trump not pose a threat to Kamala Harris. She is Henry Kissinger's favorite type of president, person with a big ego and zero independence. Kamala Harris will do exactly what the deep state tells her to do. They say jump, she will jump. They say bomb Iran, Kamala will bomb Iran. But the deep state's greatest mistake, in my opinion, is that they keep on underestimating the power of the people.
If and when Kamala Harris wins the presidential election, I hope we as a nation are prepared. Because the AKAs are going to be like the unbearability levels are going to be like, the limit does not exist. It's gonna be fucking sky high. Don't even think about wearing pink and green together after the swearing. Don't even think about it. Because Kamala Harris, that's gonna be her first point of order, is to make it illegal for people to wear pink and green together. And prosecution, what the punishment is gonna be, 30 years. Electric chair. Oh God. And you know what? We're gonna have to let him have it. Because the way they are already boots on the ground working right now, the way they are mobilizing and getting to work, we just gonna have to give it to them. Nissan, the company, get your Altimas ready, bitch. Get your Altimas ready, because y'all sales gonna be through the roof. It's gonna be a Nissan Altima parade, and this time it's gonna actually be the AKAs driving it instead of their niggas. Like, I'm high-key excited because I know they're already doing the most. And they're good. It's gonna exceed expectations. It's gonna be pink and green fireworks, pink and green outfits all the way going to DC. It's going to be so, like, it's gonna be sick. Like, it's gonna be amazing. I'm not even gonna hold you, so AKAs, y'all keep doing y'all thing. I already know y'all have it in your fucking calendar. Y'all are already trying to go to DC. Listen, if you don't live in DC, avoid it during that time. Because planes, they're gonna have to be painted pink and green because all the AKAs going to DC. And she a Howard graduate, girl. Just
Also, like, did you all see what happened to Georgia? Did we forget about that? Did we forget about Barack Obama? Did we forget about who did that? We are the ones who organize and mobilize when it comes to elections. A lot of people aren't happy with this pick because they feel like there's no way that she can beat Trump because she is a black woman. And people are saying, like, you don't have any idea how much the world hates black women. And that is true. That hasn't ever stopped us. Like, that is going to be the case no matter what. All these spaces and places we aren't supposed to access access, we access them every single time. She is able to capture so many more voters than Joe Biden. Chances of winning this election have skyrocketed. Now, she is going to have a nearly perfect campaign. Like, honestly, she's going to have to knock it out of the park. And having a white VP will legitimize a lot of the things that she's saying, because a lot of people only believe Black women when things are backed up by people. She's also capturing young voters, which is great. The people who make a difference in these key states are people of color and young people. She gets people of color and young people. I know a lot of people are feeling very pessimistic about this. And even when we look at things realistically, all the things, you know, like we're taking it all into account, I think it's still very appropriate to feel very hopeful today. We have someone who can actually...
Let me tell you, bro, I done heard some motherfucking campaign slogans in my life, but brown skin bougie got on this bitch and said, you either vote for the AKA or you vote for the KKK. And bitch, you ate that. Bitch, somebody need to get Kamala team on the phone, bitch. We need to put that on wax. That's the slogan. Like, dead ass, I'm gonna need a t-shirt or something with that shit. I'm gonna need a t-shirt. At this point, Kamala, y'all need to go ahead on and put Shawty on the campaign trail. Yeah, he needs to be on the campaign trail, because, bitch, that was some shit. Like, bro, I would never not believe that Butch Queens just overall just make the fucking world better. Because the level of creativity alone, I've never thought of no shit like that. But it's so fucking ass, because when you sit back and think about it, he has literally been confirmed to have had ties with people in the KKK. So honestly, the slogan is dead on. But yeah, I ain't gonna hold you. That shit was genius. Like, at this point, really, that shit really should be the campaign slogan. Because if that shit don't make you want to ski in the wee hours to the nearest voting booth, bitch, I mean, shit, what the fuck will at this point?
The Democratic Party has the option to do the funniest thing of all time now, with Joe Biden out and him officially endorsing Kamala Harris as his pick for vice president. If she wins the nomination at the DNC, they are basically locked into a white man for her vice president pick. Some people have been jokingly throwing around the idea that Barack Obama should be Kamala Harris's pick for vice president, but according to the 12th Amendment, no person who is constitutionally ineligible for the position of President of the United States shall be eligible for the position of Vice President of the United States, meaning that he is not eligible. And also, the Democratic Party is basically locked into picking a white man for the VP position. Now, while you, my audience of leftist clown enthusiasts and people who keep trying to convince me to spend more money on Warhammer 40K, might view Kamala Harris as a moderate Democrat, a lot of people view a woman as a radical pick on its own, let alone a Black Jamaican Indian woman, because for most of America, why are there Indians in Jamaica? The 12th Amendment, however, allows space for one-term presidents to be nominated as vice presidential picks, and many of you may think that Joe Biden is too old. Nay, I say that is not our problem. I say that we need wisdom. I say Jimmy Carter. 99-year-old former president Jimmy Carter for vice president. You see, me, Christian Divine, I dream of an America where business starts promptly at 6:45, we have dinner by 3:30, and we are promptly in bed by 5 p.m. Jimmy Carter for vice president.
I am so disappointed to see this many people defending Kamala Harris when y'all were the same people calling for an end to the genocide in Palestine. And therein lies the contradiction, because Kamala Harris has repeatedly and blatantly supported Israel's genocide efforts. They are an extension of Genocide Joe, and so they will follow in Joe's footsteps and continue to support Israel. So if you're voting for Kamala Harris, then you're not voting for Palestine. Meanwhile, there are third-party options who want to stop the U.S. from sending military aid to Israel. But then y'all's excuse is always, oh, nobody's voting third party, they're not going to win. Well, if y'all went as hard as y'all are going for Kamala for one of them, then maybe they would win. Kamala is a fascist who supports U.S. imperialism, and y'all are voting for that. Y'all can say y'all are voting for Kamala Harris because she's the lesser of two evils, but to the people in Palestine, Kamala Harris is just as evil as Joe Biden. And this is why it is selfish to vote for Kamala Harris when there are options who are actively trying to stop U.S. imperialism in Palestine.
One thing they're going to always do is pander to the Black community. And the way that they're using Black women right now to rally behind somebody who's not even a Black woman is absolutely diabolical to me. Especially given the fact that Kamala said out of her own mouth that she will never do anything that's exclusively for Black people. But then she went on a whole nother debate and gave at least 7 things that she would do for immigrants. If you don't believe me, let's go through some of the clips right now.
The reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country.
So you're not going to do anything that only benefits black people? So that would include reparations, right? Because that's something that will only affect us as black Americans, but that's something that we deserve. So whether we deserve it or not, whether those laws are needed for us specifically or not, you're not going to do it because you feel like all laws will benefit black people. No matter what laws you put in place, black people will also get something from that. And you're talking to black Americans about laws benefiting us? But she didn't stop there. She went on a debate and she gave all of these reasons and all of these things of what she would do for immigrants. So let's watch that.
What specifically would you do with the thousands of people who try to reach the United States every day and want a better life through asylum?
Immediately on January 20th of 2021, I will, first of all, we cannot forget our DACA recipients, and so I'm going to start there. I will immediately, by executive action, reinstate DACA status and DACA protection to those young people. I will further extend protection for deferral of deportation for their parents and for veterans who we have so many who are undocumented and have served our country and fought for our democracy. Immediately put in place a meaningful process for reviewing the cases for asylum. I will release children from cages. I will get rid of the private detention centers. And I will ensure that this microphone that the President of the United States holds in her hand is used in a way that is about reflecting the values of our country.
So she can easily list off 7 things that she would do for immigrants, but tell us that she's not going to do anything that only benefits black people. And it's black people that's standing behind her and rallying behind her. So all of a sudden things are going to change. All of a sudden she's going to have a change of heart and she's going to want to do stuff for black people. I'm just very confused because just a couple of months ago, y'all was saying no reparations, no vote. Just a couple of months ago, y'all was saying if it don't benefit us and if these people are not making promises to the black community, you're not voting for them. It's very strange how all of a sudden y'all have switched up completely. And this lady is not black. She's Asian and Jamaican. She's not a black American. So it makes sense why she wouldn't do anything exclusively for black Americans because she's not one herself. Am I saying go vote for Trump? No. Am I saying go vote for Kamala? No. Am I saying go vote for anybody else that might pop up within the next couple of months? No. What I am saying is research these people. Don't just rally behind somebody just because of the color of their skin, because we know through history that hasn't done anything for us. Look deeper into things and don't just allow other people to choose for you or to make you think that you're here to save democracy, because it's not black women's responsibility to save shit, especially when ain't nobody ever came to our defense.
What do you guys think about what they all said? On the one side, they have so many people rooting and even calling out the people who are saying trash about her running for that seat. Like, they are really rooting for her. And on the other spectrum, there are people saying, this woman is not a good woman. She's an extension of Joe Biden. Like, you guys already know that who they support. You guys know they support genocide. They are only going to continue what they have already started. They just want to trick us and let us support her because she is a black woman, and that is not enough. There was even a video of another woman going viral saying, being black should not be the only reason why you should be voting for Kamala Harris. When I tell you guys, the opinions are clashing, takes are getting over each other online right now. It's really, really a crazy time. This comment said, something I have been wondering is if white women will vote for a person of color woman for president before a white woman is president. I am going to vote for her for sure, but I am not the only demo. And there are so many comments like this as well saying, do you guys think white women are ever, or white people are ever going to allow this to happen, knowing fully well that a white woman has never been the president of the United States? Do you think they will leave that crown, that title for a black woman? So let me hear what you guys think. Another person said, someone said the race with Biden will have been close, but Kamala will win by a landslide because so many Gen Z are now coming out of voting age, and I laugh. It's not going to be that easy. Another person said, I think it's going to be another Hillary versus Donald. Harris will win the popular vote, but the electoral rep will vote Trump in, and same rhetoric about Hillary and emotions plus racism will hinder her. This person said the next 3 months will be wild. I think being a Black woman plays in her favor, to be honest. She can be the face of forward America, and he is backward. Capitalize in that Obama energy with some follow through. Another person said, found out a ton of this shit said about her record in California was a lie. The thousands she locked up was not even a true statement. I am going to vote for her since for me, it is the only option. What do you guys think about what these people are saying? Like I said, this is a part one. Part two is going to be up after this one. It's going to be the next video after this one. So make sure you still check it out because so many things are being said. Even in the comment section of some of the people who are dropping their take on this headline, I'm seeing comments of people saying, so who do you think we should vote for? So what do you think about this? So what do you think about this? So I think that bringing together all of this stage, people can have this conversation in the comment section. So if you have not subscribed, please subscribe and turn your bell notification on, and I will see you guys in the next one.